How much does a YouTube channel with 100,000 subscribers actually earn? Well, today I am actually going to show you my entire earnings across YouTube, and as part of the Creator 101 series, I'm also going to explain how YouTubers earn and also some of the fees and things you would have to pay for to turn YouTube into a business, and then that way you guys can also decide on if you want to take the plunge and become a creator yourself. Now, first and foremost, I will be showing earnings in both Great British Pounds, so GBP, and I will also be showing the amounts in USD as well for the American viewers. I won't be showing euros or anything like that. It will only be those two currencies. So, without further ado, let's jump into things, shall we? Now, straight off the bat, one of the first things a lot of people always ask when, they find out I'm a YouTuber, or like something that happens in the YouTube comments, they will ask, how much do you earn? Which is honestly a very difficult question to answer, simply due to the fact there are a lot of things that impact earnings, okay? Some months, you could get 1 million views and earn £1,000. Some months you could get 100,000 views and earn, £500. It is very, very different because YouTube, it all depends on the ads that you actually get placed on your videos. There's loads and loads of myths out there like, 12-minute videos earn more money. No, that's not true. It is all down to the ads that you get. Now, when it comes to the saying of 12-minute videos earn more views, it's not entirely wrong. However, that is only because they are easier to get into the YouTube algorithm. The more a YouTube video is watched, so the more percentage it is watched, and the more engagement a video gets, the more likely YouTube is to promote it. More promotion means more views, and more views means more money. So, with that out of the way, let's jump over to my own analytics on YouTube for the last 28 days. Don't worry, I will, in fact, you know what, let's just change that to October 1st, and then we'll go over, the last few months and also this year and last year, and then we'll also go over, the different sorts of ads and things like that. So, let's change over. Okay, so right now, this is my earnings for just October, okay? Now, the date I'm recording this video on is the 11th of October, 2022. However, as you can see on YouTube, I've only got up to the 10th of October displayed. Okay, now that's just because YouTube analytics are always a day or two behind, and if I was to look in estimated revenue, it's probably only up to the 8th or the 9th on there, because the revenue analytics is even further behind than the viewership ones. Now, just looking at October, my earnings might be lower than you might think. Well, they're actually not. Okay, now there is some variance when it comes to earnings, but for my channel typically, you've got to also think about things like people who use ad blocker, premium users, people who click on the ads and all that sort of stuff. That all plays into it, but on average, my channel will typically earn about £5 per 1,000 views, okay? Now, yes, that would mean I'm earning a little bit less than, my views would indicate. That's normal, okay? There's always going to be some play. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's a little less, but that is the average for me personally. And from what I know of other creators, their average is roughly the same as well. And before anyone asks, yes, genre does play a role in how much you earn. For example, gamers do not earn a lot. Then you've got tech YouTubers, so like tech reviewers and that, they will actually earn less than gamers typically, just because of the ads that you get on your videos. If you want the absolute highest paid ads, then you need to start making, things like finance videos, crypto videos, marketing videos, things of that nature where advertisers pay a lot more. Finance sorts of videos are typically the absolute biggest earners on YouTube, and their CPMs are a lot higher. And speaking of CPM, let's take a look at that now, shall we? So again, this is just for October. If we click the revenue tab, I have a playback-based CPM of £12.15. Now, what this means is for every 1,000 monetized views, that should be what I earn. Okay, so across all the videos on my channel, with 1,000 monetized views, that is how much I should earn. That is not how much I do get though, because as mentioned earlier, there are people who use things like ad blocker, or, you know, they just click the video and then click straight back off before an ad even loads and things like that. So this is the RPM. This is how much I actually earn per 1,000 views. This takes essentially everything into account, you know, ad block and things like that. Now, as I mentioned, it is around 1,000 views per £5 for me personally. And in fact, you know what, if I just turn that into USD for the American users to take a quick look at. So if we change that to dollars, so in dollars, it's about $5.50, and the playback base CPM is $13. And this month, I've made about $537. So this month has obviously only just started. As I mentioned, we're only up to the 9th. So that is going to go, you know, up a bit more. Like at the end of this month, I will probably be on around about 3 times more than that. It's probably going to be about $1,800, if that. Now, that's actually kind of normal for me, okay? Now, I know you're looking down here and you think, okay, those numbers are a lot higher. There are a few things that impact these numbers, okay? Firstly, you have holidays. Advertisers always pay a lot more for holidays. Then you also have the content you are producing, and you also have your actual income and things like that. Now, these numbers you are seeing here as well, let me just straight up say, these are not the numbers I get paid, okay? This is not what I get paid at all. There are a lot of things that come out of this before I get paid. So, for example, here in May, where I made $4,000, if we change that back to pounds, so I know what that is in pounds, GBP, it's like it was nowhere near. Okay, so £3,244. That's how much I should have been paid in May. That is not how much I got paid. In May, I want to say it was around £2,200 to £2,300 that I made in May. That's how much I got paid. Because there are a lot of things that come out of these, like, payments, basically. So, straight off the bat, some of the ones that you just can't fight, basically. You have MCN fees. Now, MCN stands for Multiple Channel Network. You don't have to be in one of these to be a YouTuber. However, it does make things easier early on, and it also gives you a point of contact. They aren't that helpful overall, but you do get some, you know, some nice little benefits. A lot of them typically is just things like free music libraries, you know, like free libraries of copyright-free music. That's the main benefit of an MCN. So early on, it works out a lot better to be a member of that. As you get bigger and bigger and bigger and you're earning more money, then the fees that you're paying for them outweighs the benefits that you are getting. So once you get to a certain point, I would suggest leaving an MCN. Me personally, I'm sort of in that even ground where it's okay for me currently to still be in an MCN, but if I was to start earning, you know, like £5,000, £6,000 a month, I would leave the MCN simply due to the fact it would be easier for me to just pay a subscription for the copyright music, and then I would be fine. You know what I mean? So other than MCN fees, and if you're wondering, my current fee is 5%. So I'm with Union for Gamers, which is the Curse network. That is typically the best one that I've personally found when it comes to MCNs. Again, you know, you still need, you know, your 1,000 subs, your 4,000 minutes watched before you can get monetized with them. But they are a good network. They've helped me in the past, and they have the best revenue sharing model available. So that's why I'm still with Curse, basically. Other than MCN fees, which is 5%, you have conversion fees. Now, me being from England, you know, I get paid in dollars. That's just something that always happens with YouTube. So if I change that back to dollars now, no matter who you are with or anything like that, you will be paid in dollars. It might be a little different if you are just with, you know, like AdSense and they pay you by check. That might be in pounds. But for me, I'm with an MCN, so I get paid in dollars. What that means is these dollars have to get converted, which YouTube doesn't do a very good job of, by the way. That's also how these numbers are wrong. So straight off the bat, there is a conversion taking place, and then there is a conversion fee. Okay, it doesn't matter where you have the conversion done. If you get paid at PayPal, PayPal will take a conversion fee. If you are paid directly into your bank account, your bank will take a conversion fee. Now, the amount changes depending on, you know, your bank, where you have it. Is it PayPal bank, whatever. The amount will always change, so I can't give you an exact amount there. And obviously, actual currency values also impacts that. Okay, so again, you know, you could lose quite a lot just from that process alone. So out of that, you know, out of that 4,000 USD, straight off the bat, you've lost 5%, which is $200. You've lost your conversion and conversion fee, so that's going to take you down. And then there is one more fee as well. Now this one, not everybody will have to pay. It does depend. However, me personally, I have a business bank account. And because I have had my business bank account for over 18 months now, I have to pay a fee for every transaction that goes through that account. That is normal with business bank accounts. And yes, I could get rid of that by, you know, changing banks, but that's a lot of hassle to save on a fee. Basically, it's only a small fee. I think it's like 45 pence per transaction. So every time I get paid, that's an extra 45p gone just from that transaction alone. Okay, so after all these fees are considered and taken out, you are losing quite a bit of money from that. But then you also have business costs. Okay, now when I say business costs, I mean costs of maintaining the business. Nothing is free in this world, and for me to make videos for you guys, there are a lot of costs that I don't think people actually realize. So let's talk about some of them. First and foremost, equipment. Okay, now camera, microphones, stream lights, computer, monitors, keyboard, mouse, consoles, games, like these are all business costs, okay? And it is a lot more expensive than you might realize actually being a YouTuber. You've got to think, like when a new game comes out, I mean, that's like 60, 70 pound a game, you know? So some months I could go without having to buy one. Other months I could have to pay £200-300 just for games, you know? Like I don't get free games from everywhere. There's only like one company that I routinely get them from. And then there's like another smaller company where I sometimes get them from. So again, you know, like that is a very big cost. And then when it comes to the actual hardware you need to make videos, when you're just starting out, you can use, you know, a bog standard microphone like this. This is still one of my early mics. This is the AT2020 USB microphone. I think it's like £100 for this microphone, and it is absolutely a brilliant microphone. If anybody is going to start YouTube, a good microphone and a good camera are definitely very, very beneficial. The microphone is the most important though. Nobody will watch a video with poor sound quality, so if you are going to do YouTube, this should be your starting microphone. Now, I am personally considering upgrading to a Shure, but I'm not going to do that just yet, because the biggest cost for a YouTuber is PC and storage. Okay, now me personally, my PC is a little overkill for a typical YouTuber. However, it is very beneficial to me, okay? For gaming, it is overkill. However, you've got to think, I do a lot of streaming and also a lot of editing, so I need the extra power. That's why my PC total value is somewhere around the £8,000 mark. It is a 3090, 5950X, 128 gigs of RAM, way too much storage. There's my capture card, my fans to keep it cool. There's all of that to go into it. I did build it myself to try and save some costs there, you know, like the parts were cheaper, I didn't have to pay labor, so I saved some money there. However, one of the things I have had to do, which is just from the last couple of days actually, I've had to make a very large purchase, very nearly £6,000, which I don't know how much that is in USD, but it's quite a lot. And what that is storage. It's just storage. I've had to buy a NAS unit, a bunch of drives, and a few more networking cables so I can get, you know, like 10 gig networking, just to improve my workflow. At the moment, I am having to constantly delete files because I just don't have the storage. So I'm going up to nearly 100 terabytes. And believe it or not, that won't last. Like, I would go through 100 terabytes within 6 months, because with that I can do a whole bunch of, you know, like actual full length challenge videos instead of just the highlights that I do, maybe a full length overpowered video, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So it is not a cheap job, so to speak. You know, like a lot of the stuff that you spend is going to be on equipment, and that comes out of this as well. And then you also have subscriptions, so, you know, you need something like Adobe for thumbnails, so Adobe Photoshop. You might use Premiere Pro, which, again, subscription-based, or you could use something like DaVinci, Sony Vegas, you know, like these are all costs as well. Then you have editors, mate, like that is something I have just recently started to do. So the shorts you are seeing on my channel, those are being edited for me. So obviously, you know, I have to pay them for their time. One of the things I want to start doing in the future is paying my stream mods and my Discord mods. We are not quite at that point just yet, but hopefully we will be soon. And then one that I think is going to mess a lot of people up is accountants. Okay, being a YouTuber, a lot of people try and hide their earnings thinking, oh, you know, they don't know what's in my PayPal, they can't see what's going into my bank, and they try and not declare their earnings, basically. You see it all the time of YouTubers being done for that. Pay your taxes. And when it comes to YouTube, there is a lot of stuff that you need to do, okay? That is why I have an accountant. I don't do my taxes myself. There is way too much to do. There's way too much, like, information that I just don't understand, and I don't have the time to learn and become a qualified accountant to do it, basically. So I have an accountant to do it for me. That, again, is, you know, a yearly fee and things like that. And that also takes us on to the last fee of being a YouTuber: your taxes. Everything I earn here is before tax, okay? So I have to pay tax on all of this. Now, after all these fees, all these costs come out, as a general rule of thumb, take an extra 25% of your earnings, like the money you have left over, take 25% of every payment you get and put that aside for the end of the tax year. That is the one that that is the one that tricks most people, okay? And that is the one that is by far the most important. You have to pay tax on all of this. And that is why, out of all these amounts right here, okay, I would be lucky if I saw like 60% of this. If we change it back to pounds right now, I can tell you just how much I actually got, okay? So let's look at this month right here, July. Because of the way YouTube is paid, you are paid basically a month in arrears, okay? So we are now in October. I have just been paid July's payments, okay? So that £2,500 that YouTube says I earned, that's not how much I got. What went into my bank account, okay, was just under £1,900. It was like 1890, 1891, something like that, okay? But then I have to take, you know, like 20-25% of that, put it to one side for the accountant. So this month, in October, what went into my bank account was effectively about £1,300, which that is before the costs that I was telling you about. So any equipment that I've had to buy and things like that, that has to come out of that. But then also my bills have to come out of that, you know, my electric, my rent, my internet, all of that also comes out of that. So realistically, it's like that £2,500 is effectively me being on a minimum wage job in the UK. That earnings are roughly on par with a minimum wage job in the UK working 40 hours. Obviously, I work a lot more than 40 hours, so I earn less than minimum wage when you get down to the actual hourly rate. There are benefits though, you know, I choose my own working hours. If I need to do something, I can. I'm not tied into an office 9 to 5 or anything like that. I have the flexibility, which is a benefit, which, you know, to be honest, I quite enjoy as being a benefit. So, these are my monthly earnings, okay? Let's take a look at my yearly earnings, shall we? Which, if we just change to 2022, so this year as a whole, okay? Keep in mind everything I've just mentioned. This is how much I've made from January 1st, 2022, all the way through until, what's the last date? October 9th, okay? I've made £19,559. But again, you lose at least like 25% of that, so that's like, might as well just round it up and say £5,000, so that's about 14,000. Again, that's tax. You would pay that on a normal income job as well. There's no secret hidden, you know, lucrativeness. You know, I'm not a millionaire earning tens of thousands or anything like that a month. 100,000 subscribers on YouTube is essentially the starting point, okay? One of the main reasons I've started this Creator 101 series is I want to help people make informed decisions, because there is not many videos on YouTube really explaining it. And you also have to think, YouTube is risky, okay? With a job, you know, you can have warnings, you can have conversations with the boss. You're not just going to suddenly lose your job like that. I mean, granted you can, the chances of it are just low. With YouTube, the platform could shut down, you could be banned, your channel could be shut down, you could lose monetization, you could get the snowflakes coming after you, you could get cancel culture on you. Like, there are so many things that could completely end your career, and then when that happens, your money goes to zero. Basically, you lose everything from that point on. So it is a risky venture, and obviously, you know, you do need to be a bit smarter with your income. One of the things I will also point out is the start of the year is always slower. It is always slower, okay? Now, yes, the views are a little low here, but obviously right here, January, you know, like 20,000 views, 18, 19,000 views. But if we look at revenue for those days, it was still only the same revenue as I'm basically on today, even though I'm getting half the views today as I was back then. Why is that? It all comes back to how much advertisers pay, okay? After Christmas, advertisers aren't paying anything. There's no holidays, people have got no money left, so people aren't buying any products. That means advertisers give you the finger and they pay peanuts for ads. That is why the earnings here are so low compared to the views. That is normal. So what you would have to do is around the middle of the year and the end of the year is when advertisers are paying the most, because that's the big holidays, okay? The money you earn from those two periods, that has to cover you for the start of a year, okay? It is not uncommon for your earnings to drop to just a third or even a quarter of what they were, okay? January and February, chances are you could be earning a quarter of what you were in October, November, around that time period, okay? That is normal. It happens every year with YouTube. You just have to keep an eye on it, basically. Let's show you 2021, a complete year of my earnings. So if I go to 2021 right here, 24,396. That's how much I made last year. Granted, it's not completely accurate because of conversion fees, MCN fees, transfer fees, and things like that. And of course, tax. But again, that's how much YouTube is saying I made last year. What I will say is this amount of earnings from YouTube, with all the fees considered, right, this would not really be livable. Okay, you wouldn't be able to safely live on this from YouTube because of all the risks and all your expenses needed. Me personally, I am able to do it because I have diversified. So I have Patreon, which originally I did not need. That was originally going towards the website development. However, because of the cost of living going drastically up in the UK, that is now needed for my personal funds, basically. And there is also Twitch. But again, Twitch also has its own expenses. So, you know, numbers there, definitely hit and miss, just like YouTube. They again have their fees, they're paid in USD, so you still have conversions, and of course there is the equipment needed for Twitch, like the Wheel of Pain, like the things you have to buy for it, like the costumes and all that sort of stuff. Now with those three combined, okay, I am just about able, like, after all the fees, after all the equipment costs and things like that, I am just about able to make about £1,500 a month. Okay, that is typically after tax. Some months it might be a little less, some months it might be a little more. That is the average for me this year, and it was also the average for me last year as well. Now, this is probably what I'm going to be ending this year on as well, around about the same figure. Just because, remember, we still have, you know, the rest of October, November, and December to do. And obviously, these 3 months will be paying a lot more than previous months, so I probably will end this year on around 23 to 25,000 as well. So that is how much I earn with 100,000 subscribers. I really hope that this has been educational for you. Were you thinking of starting your own YouTube channel? Were you curious how much YouTubers actually made? Like, leave a comment down below. I want to discuss this with you guys, and hopefully I answered a whole bunch of questions you had. If not, ask them in the comments and I'll get back to you. And of course, make sure you hit the like button while you're down there, because it really helps the channel out a lot. Anyway though, everybody, I want to thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.